What's up, guys? This is the Monday quarterbacking. Monday. You know what the fuck I mean. It's a review of yesterday's games. We basically broke even on the day. I missed on a couple games, and then we hit on a few, pretty good calls. Like we hit the Colts. Had them a little bit on the money line, but we missed on the Bills, which I don't feel like that was a bad bet. I mean, they had 500 yards of offense. Miami only had 200 yards of offense. They had a few turnover on downs, a fumble. Josh Allen missed an open guy at the end, even though they wouldn't have covered, but they still would have hit the money line. But so many opportunities that just didn't work out. We missed on the Vikings. I thought after Monday Night Football, they were pretty much embarrassed. I thought they would come out stronger and get up an early lead instead of having to play comeback. They looked okay in the fourth quarter, but the whole game they looked like shit. Their defense played decent for what that defense really is. They're not really that good, but Goff was going off on them in the first half, and then they pretty much locked down in the second half. The Vikings had to make a late comeback. Didn't see the game going that way. I did have the Vikings on a survivor play, so that was nice that they still got the win. Played them second half, so we got that. But yeah, I thought they would have got out to an early lead, and then I thought the offense would have played much better, but they look like shit. Jefferson, 2 weeks in a row now, he's looked pretty mediocre. I don't know if that's, just fluky or what it is, but he didn't look good for the second week in a row. Oh yeah, my Maverick mustache. Top Gun, baby. Anyways, another game I missed on, so those were the two, and then who else did we miss? I know we hit the Colts. Oh, we missed on the Patriots. Again, another game that I feel like we should have won. Vikings, fine. I'll take my L on that. But the Bills should have covered that game, and then the Patriots should have won outright. That was embarrassing. I think they had 5 turnovers in the game. Mac Jones threw a couple stupid interceptions. I know for sure one was in the end zone. They had a breakaway 40-yard play, and the dude fumbles. Just so many mistakes. I might have to go back and watch that game just to see how it all turned out. But for most of the game, the Patriots defense played pretty well, but the offense keeps putting them in bad spots with the turnovers. Lamar Jackson pretty much has the team on his back. Mark Andrews made a couple nice catches. The one in the end zone was pretty damn nice. But for the most part, they look pretty mediocre. It's just I don't know what the hell Mac Jones is doing that game. He looked like a moron. I don't know. But another game where I feel like I had the right play, but it just didn't work out, and that happens over the course of the season. So take 2 of those L's this week. I thought the Broncos would have got off to a hot start. We took the first half, and that game was embarrassing. We did take the second half. We took a live bet. We have them on a teaser, so it ended up working out. But both offenses in that game were just embarrassingly bad. The fact that was on Sunday Night Football and everyone had to sit through that was torture. Defenses played great, don't get me wrong. I like good defenses, but when the offenses are just shit, that's a different story. Russell Wilson I don't know what he's doing. The guy, he'll have a running back, as his little check down option. He just kind of comes out in the flat, and he just rifles it. He's 3 yards away, and he's throwing it 100 miles an hour at the guy. How's he supposed to catch it? He did that multiple times throughout the game. He has like no touch on his passes right now. Everything's just it's a million miles an hour, or it's overthrown. He had one really nice pass to Judy, but the dude broke it up. Tre'Davious Ward broke it up. Nice defensive play. Other than that game was just torture to sit through. Like I was literally on TikTok because the game was so bad. If I didn't have money on it, I wouldn't have been able to sit through that. That was awful. Jimmy G, he started off hot. Like, I think he completed his first 4 or 5 passes, drove right down the field. But this is what Shanahan does. This is what drives me crazy about him is they'll start off nice. They'll get an early lead. And then they look so like you can literally guess every play they're gonna run after they have a lead. So in the second half, I already know what he's gonna do. He's gonna run, pass on third down, run, pass third down, and they would just run into a wall. And then Jimmy G it would be like 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, and he'd have to try to convert a third down. When you keep putting your quarterback in that situation, he's going to have to force the ball. He's going to throw some picks. And that's exactly what happened. And then you give up the lead, and then you have to throw the ball. And the defense, especially with the Broncos D-line, Trent got hurt. He went out. As soon as he went out, we couldn't block anybody. I'm a Niner fan, so it was awful once he went out. We couldn't block. Jimmy G's like having to force the ball. We don't really have great receivers. We got Debo, but I mean, if they just key in on Debo, they give you under 3 seconds to throw the ball. That's a recipe for disaster right there. So, as a Niner fan, I know that. I take the Broncos. I took the Broncos second half. I took them live. I took them to win the game. I have them on the teaser with Dallas tonight. Shanahan needs to figure this shit out. He does this all the time. It's happened in the Super Bowl. It happened when he was the coach of the Falcons against the Super Bowl against the Patriots, where they blew a 28-3 lead. It's literally his MO. He gets a lead. Great play calling the first half, or even a couple drives, whatever, to get the lead. And then he just plays to not lose the game. And he loses the game every time. Like, stop doing it. It doesn't work. I don't understand why he keeps doing this shit. I don't know. It's awful. That's my Niner rant. I'm not a huge fan anymore like I used to be. Just kind of don't really care about my teams like that anymore. Like, I'm not a super fan or whatever the hell you want. It's not going to affect my day, especially when I'm winning money on it. Politics and sports has ruined the game for me anyways. Like, I watch every weekend, but it's literally just the fact that I'm betting and making money on it. I'm not a diehard fan. I don't buy the merch. None of that. Like, I could give a shit about football, NFL, and it's all rigged. Like, I can literally tell you when the game is rigged. Like, I know the game was rigged for the Colts. Like, how many opportunities do you need? The refs helped the game. The kicker missed. I'll say it. He missed on purpose. And then you can just tell. Like, it's very obvious in the beginning. Like, I'm on the Colts because I know the game is rigged. And you keep moving that spread down when all the money, even not just the bets, but all the money was on the Chiefs. And that's the difference. So you're going to have 90% of the bets, fine. But when 90-something% of the money is also on the Chiefs and the line's moving down, that doesn't even make sense. So it's obviously rigged. NFL is scripted. Multiple players have come out and said this, even though they're not supposed to. Every player has to sign an NDA when they first get in the league. So they're really not supposed to be talking about it, but a few of them have. Everything is scripted. Once you know this, you'll be able to see certain games and certain spots where that happens. this week with the Colts. I'd have to think back to last week before. I don't know, but we'll be able to tell. So if there's one this week, I'll even put it out there before the game starts, and I'll let you know which one it is. Going back, week in review, we had the Rams. I didn't understand that line at all. When I want to say it was Monday, after Monday Night Football, I did my lines, my whatever you want to call your model or whatever. I had the Rams like -6, almost -7. I think it was 6.5 on my lines, and the line came out -4. I instantly grabbed it. I was like, "There's no way this stays at -4." It stayed -4 and dropped all the way to -3 before kickoff. Like, what? It doesn't make sense. And they kicked their ass the whole game. Arizona made it close late, but we still covered. I don't understand that line. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could have been way worse than it was, too. Rams could have scored way more points. That could have been a blowout. But it stayed relatively close. We get our win. Another game, I had the Bucks -1, I believe was the number. And that game was just awful. I mean, anytime the Bucks were moving, they would fumble. They forced a huge fumble on the goal line. I thought right then and there the game's going to change. I grabbed some Bucks money line live. It was like +350. Had a chance to get it, and I couldn't get it done. We also grabbed the Bucks second half because you just know when you have two quarterbacks like this, it's going to be a close game. There's no way it's going to stay, a 10-point game throughout the game. So grab Bucks second half. They covered. They scored late. They needed a 2-point conversion. Didn't get it to go into overtime. So we split on those games. But yeah, the Bucks defense played really well. Their offense, trash again. I mean, like I said, they just keep fumbling the ball. I don't understand. Fumbles, pure luck for the most part in the NFL. So I wouldn't expect to see that again. You might be able to get a good number on them going into this week because of the way the injuries and just the way they looked on offense. So I'll be looking for that. I'll do another video maybe tomorrow, if not on Wednesday, for all my week 4 bets. And yeah, let's see, another game. We can talk about the Chargers. They obviously, with the injuries and all that, I don't know if they just weren't prepared. I mean, they played Thursday Night Football, lost. You would think they'd come out a little sharper than that. With the Herbert injury all week, you don't know if he's going to play. And then finally, at the last minute, he does play. And they just get steamrolled by the Jags. Like, that wasn't even competitive. They literally just whooped their ass. Now, it's kind of a throwaway game for the Chargers. They had a bunch of injuries. The Herbert injury, it was a weird week for them. I get it. Probably won't see that again. But on the other side, with the Jags, does that mean the Jags are kind of good, or I don't know. Like, week 1 didn't look good. Week 2, they whooped the shit out of the Colts. The Colts had a bunch of injuries. And then week 3, they whooped the shit out of the Chargers. They have a bunch of injuries. So I don't know. I don't know if you can say they're good or they're just catching these teams at a really bad time. I think I'll need to see another week before I'm like, okay, the Jags are kind of good. If anything, you might get in some inflated lines on them. Might be able to play the other way on them now. I'll do all my lines tonight or later today and see where it's at. Might be able to, like I said, snipe some bad lines on them now. Falcons in Seattle wasn't really much of a game to speak of. You kind of knew what you were getting going into that game. Offenses are bad. Falcons offense is pretty good. I don't know why Mariota gets the hate that he does. He makes plays. He made some really nice throws. Yeah, he's gonna make some mistakes with his throws, but I kind of like his mistakes because for the most part, most of those mistakes are him believing he can make every throw, and that's not a bad trait to have. That's, you know, Brett Favre was like that. He would make every throw he possibly, like, even if he's triple covered, he thinks he can make that throw, and I'm fine with that. Obviously, if you're just not reading the defense, that's a whole different story. But when you think you can make that throw and you have the confidence in yourself to make that throw, I like that. I kind of have that similar with Jimmy G, but he has the tendency to just not read the defense. He did that last night, threw the ball right. He didn't see the safety right there. Different story. I don't like that. Obviously, you can't read the defense. You're not seeing the defense. Different. Mariota, though, makes plays with his legs, scrambles, makes those nice throws, converts third downs. You have Patterson in the backfield who just, I don't know. It's weird. As a running back, in my opinion, running backs don't really matter these days. But when you have someone who literally just makes plays after plays and you can throw him the ball, that's a different story. It's kind of like Christian McCaffrey, where if you just get him the ball in space, he's going to make plays. Very similar players. And then Kyle Pitts, obviously very good. I like their offense a lot. It's just their defense is so bad. Going up against Seattle, who they have some good receivers, but that's about it. They don't have their O-line's not that good. Their quarterback's obviously Geno Smith. Their defense is bad. So the Falcons had the edge with the better offense. Both have bad defenses. That's my take on the game. I am kind of higher on Atlanta than most people, I guess, just because I think their offense is pretty legit. Obviously, without a receiver, Ridley being suspended, that hurts them, but I don't think they're as bad as, the odds makers and most people seem to think. I think you'll be able to get pretty good numbers on them throughout the year, and, unless they start reeling off W's, and then they'd have to adjust. But in the underdog role, I think you'll be able to get some pretty good lines on them throughout the season. What's another game we can talk about? We went over the Patriots. That game was pretty brutal. I think that's it for the most part. We got the Cowboys tonight. Cowboys and Giants. Giants are a very fraudulent 2-0 team. They beat the Titans at, second half. I talked about this last week, but they shouldn't be 2-0. They beat the Titans and the Panthers, both of which should have beat them, and both of which don't look very good. Panthers beat the Saints. We had the Panthers in a teaser. Panthers are kind of that team where they're going to play every team kind of tough, but they're going to have trouble pulling out wins. I think their defense is decent. I do kind of like their defense. Their coaching is bad. Their coaching sucks. Like, you You got a college coach as your head coach, and then you have fucking Ben McAdoo as your fucking offensive coordinator. Like, what the fuck were you guys thinking? I think they could be a lot better if they had some better coaching. But they're going to be that team that hangs around in each game because their team is pretty good. It's just their coaching. They're gonna have trouble finishing games and finishing drives and finishing quarters and halves. It's going to be the same issue over and over again until something clicks. But yeah, I think they'll be competitive. If you flip the other side with the Saints, I was really high on the Saints going into the year. I'm still high on them. Jameis is playing out there with a broken back, first of all. And their defense hasn't been as great as it should be. They should be playing better with the players that they have on their defense. You would think they'd be a little bit better. They did play good this week. They just couldn't score points. Their offense just couldn't move the ball. I might have to go back and watch that game. Usually I just watch Red Zone so I can see, anytime someone's getting close to scoring or whatever. And that game was never on because they weren't in the Red Zone. So probably have to go back and actually watch it. But just from looking at the numbers and the highlights and whatnot, we know the Saints couldn't move the ball. We know Jameis couldn't complete passes. Same as last week. The offense is what's killing them. Defense is playing pretty good. I don't know if he just needs to get healthy or if they need to figure something out something different. But I kind of like Jameis. Like I don't have an issue with him other than his interception rate. Like he's gonna throw picks, but you also know he's gonna come back and throw touchdowns in the end and make it a close game. It's kind of been his MO his whole career. He will give the ball away, but he will make some crazy plays and at least keep his team in the game. Now with his broken back, it's not happening. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I would say if their offense doesn't improve this week, then we might have an issue. I do think it might be a good time to take them to get into the playoffs. Whatever. I haven't checked the updated numbers. It might not even be out yet, but I still do like their team, and I think that they're going to be competitive all season. And I do think that they should still be able to sneak into a wild card spot. There's not a runaway team or like multiple great teams in the NFC. Even the Bucks, their own division, are very beatable right now, even though they just lost to them. But at least they can keep up with them because the Bucks aren't running away with anything right now. Like I said, there's no team in the NFC that's just going to run away with anything. The Packers, their offense looks bad right now. I mean, they can run the ball pretty well, and then obviously Aaron Rodgers is going to make some crazy throws. Their defense is pretty decent, but they're not explosive. They're not going to put up 30-something points every game like they were last year. You have the Rams, who they look good for 2 quarters, and then they look bad for 2 quarters. So I don't know with the Rams either. There's not really a runaway team in the NFC. The AFC, at least, you know what you're going to get with the Bills. The Dolphins look good. The Ravens are still up there somehow. I don't understand how, but they're up there. You have teams that are going to make the playoffs for sure in the AFC. I don't see that in the NFC. I think anyone can win. I mean, the Eagles are probably the best team as of right now. They're probably going to lock down the number 1 seed if they obviously continue to play the way they are. Hurts has been really good, and I say that as someone who wasn't really high on Hurts because of his his accuracy. But we're not seeing those issues this year. 3 games in, and he's been really accurate, and he's been making plays on third down, converting third down, scrambling. Like, obviously helps when you get a really good receiver in A.J. Brown. So you just have someone to just, throw it up to when you're in trouble. That's great to have. But I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from Hurts because he has looked good. And yeah. And then obviously their defense is playing really good, which was expected. Their D-line is really good, so that was expected. I thought Hurts might have the same issues as he did last year, but he's not. He's playing really good, so if that doesn't change, obviously they're going to lock down the number 1 seed. Things change in the NFL, though. Teams will look good for a few weeks, and then they kind of come back to reality. So I wouldn't put anything on the Eagles, especially right now. All their odds are going to be, inflated or deflated, I guess you would say. Their odds aren't going to be as great right now because they look like the best team. So it'll be best to wait for them to lose a game or two, and then hop in on them. Like I said, they're still beatable. They're not going to run away with anything either, but they have looked really good. So the ass kicking they gave to the Vikings, it was a bad matchup, but they still kicked their ass. And so and the Vikings and Lions, I kind of went over that earlier, but the Vikings should be playing better than they are. Their offense looked really good in week 1, at least for 2 or 3 quarters. Looked like shit in week 2, and then looked like shit in week 3 for 3 quarters. So I don't know what to say about them. Their defense isn't that great, and they're going to give up points, but I expect their offense to be better than it's playing right now. So might be a good buy low spot on them if you want to put them into making the playoffs or something like that. That it is possible that they could still win that division. It might be a decent number. I'd have to check, but both teams got to win this week, so it wouldn't be super crazy, difference from last week or anything. But like I said, the Green Bay Packers are definitely beatable, and they already beat them once, so the next game that they play, if they do beat them again, then obviously tiebreakers would go to them. They already have 2 on them. Kind of talking myself into making that bet right now. Might have to look at that. Vikings to win their division, Vikings to make the playoffs. I think that's a good bet. Another team I want to talk about we smashed was the Bengals. 0-2 going into the week, playing a Jets team so the problem with the Bengals is their O-line. Problem with the Jets is they can't get any pass rush. So I like that matchup. We smashed the Bengals, didn't care the number. 6, 6.5, 7, I didn't care. I was smashing the Bengals no matter what. And that game wasn't close. They pretty much kicked their ass for 4 quarters. Flacco does his thing late in the game where he tries to pad his stats, make it look a little better, but he was awful throughout the game. I think they won by 15, but it could have been 4 touchdowns. I still like the Bengals. We took them to win the division last week. I was thinking it was a good time because I thought the Patriots would win this game against the Ravens. Whatever, I still like it. As long as they can figure out how to block, they'll be a good team, but that's their issue. They can't block. If they play teams with good pass rushes, they're going to have to figure something else out because that shit is not working. Whatever what I don't understand is they tried to solidify their O-line in the offseason. People thought they did that, and it still looks terrible. Like, they were giving up 6 or 7 sacks in the first 2 games. I don't know what they gave up yesterday. It was like 1 or 2 or something. I'd have to look at it. But like I said, bad matchup for the Jets. If you can't get to Burrow, he's gonna kill you. So especially with the two receivers he has, I know Higgins got knocked out of that game. I'd have to check to see what his injury looks like. Looked like a concussion though, so I don't know if he's playing this week or whatnot. But the other Tua literally landed on his head. Different game, obviously, talking about the Dolphins. But Tua smacked his own head. It wasn't that hard of a hit or anything. He just kind of shoved him and he smacked the back of his head. Dude was literally wobbling, and somehow they let him back in the game. Like, how the hell was he allowed to go back in the game? He didn't do anything. He only had 186 yards or something like that. But for the safety precautions that they so love to speak about, what the hell? How is he allowed to go back in the game after looking like he just got knocked out in a boxing match? Like, he couldn't even stand. Yeah, I don't get that one. But anyways, NFL Week 3 overall. So we're up a few units because of the Browns. Yesterday we broke completely even. I think I looked at it, it was minus $2, which, whatever. But we had the Browns on Thursday, so that's 4 units. So we're up almost a total of 4 units with the Cowboys money line, and then Cowboys on a teaser. So we have the money line, and then we have a +7. So we could end the week +6 units. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that was it for week 3. I'll be back here again in a couple days doing a video for week 4. Get ready to make some